first of all, I think there is probably a good story for most sectors in Germany at the moment. We quite like the office and the logistics sector at the moment. On the office side, and I mentioned that earlier a bit, I think it's really important in Germany not only to look at the top six, and a big difference to all of the other markets in Europe really is the fact that, I think you said in your presentation, half of the investment happens in the big six. True, but that means half of it happens outside, and that's actually quite a lot. So if you go over and above those markets, you have another 10 to 15 markets that we think are very interesting, and that can also be, in our view, for international investors, be very interesting because there are core markets in themselves. They're very defined locations often, and they come from a very low rental level. So really one where we feel there's a lot of security and on the lower side, and some potential in growth as well, because of the pretty much non-existent development pipeline in that area. So that's something we continue to look at. Office also outside of those big six. Yeah.
And is that more difficult to find if you're an outside investor, do you think, than if you're already based in Germany, to find the good assets in those in maybe that next set of 6 or 10 cities?
Well, I mean, it is certainly a little bit less obvious for somebody coming from overseas to get started in Münster or Hanover or the likes. At the same time, I think it's a market that is very liquid, is also well covered by advisors. Ignaz, you'll be happy to help people in other markets as well. So I don't really think so. I mean, I think it's something that's quite often overlooked. And if you look at the reason why people from outside of Germany are considering Germany to be a safe haven, this is really mostly driven by diversity, and it's driven by a very strong economy that has found its place in the global economy. And that economy actually is coming from all those places. I mean, I don't know, you take a market like Mannheim, and within 15 minutes around the city center of Mannheim, you'll have the headquarters of SAP, and you've got the headquarters of BASF. So you've got one of the most successful chemical companies in the world, and one of the most successful software companies. And they do create demand for advisors and lawyers and the likes. It's not a huge market, but it's well defined. And we feel that if you take a bit of help maybe from the locals, it's quite accessible.
Well, first of all, I would only partly agree on what you were saying, Nils, on the B locations. Yeah, we of course we love to help clients to look into these locations, but it's an obvious thing that for everybody who is looking into a new country and trying to invest, it's very simple to look at the main cities, because the markets there are very transparent. It's very easy to get a lot of comparables there. Of course, therefore there are more deals in these markets, and every time we are looking at assets in B locations where the owners would like to dispose after a period of time, we see that it's really difficult to find the right pricing. And for us it's difficult to find the right pricing, and therefore it's also difficult to find the right pricing for a potential investor. But of course there are still deals to do there, good deals to do there, but you have to dive in on a different basis. If you look into the overall general market, as Andreas said before, we only have so far approximately 30% international money in Germany. In the peak, you probably remember in 06 and in 07, 06, we had a portion of international investors of over 80%. The domestic were selling and the international were buying. Low interest rates and leverage figures, which we are still dreaming until today. Then it went down. But most of the international buyers, of course, they're looking at the A cities. and they are looking especially into the office market and the retail market. They probably would look into the other asset classes, but these are normally the first things they do.